What was our first topic, James?
The eclipse.
Yes.
Which we're kind of showing you what it's going to look like if my bald head were the sun and the moon going in front of it. This is what it's going to look like.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a very good shot of James's head in the eclipse. Turn around.
Exactly.
Total eclipse of the pod.
So we try and be topical on this.
Turn around, bright eyes. Turn around. Okay, I'm finished now.
So with the tie-in of the eclipse, I know this is. There you go. I don't want to be rude and not look at you, but I guess I'm going to have to.
Yeah, you want me to pull out one of our headsets so you can wear that?
That's fine. Right. That's fine.
Or you could you're headlining at in Vegas. You could just grab the microphone and hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Gary Mack? All right. You don't have to do that. I'm sorry.
It doesn't sound very good either. All right. But yeah. Okay. There we go.
I was going to. This is the first time we've done this.
Can't you tell?
I have this nice extending microphone stand, but I only have one of them. So James is stuck with the regular straight up and down mic stand. I should.
Yeah.
James is stuck with the straight up and down mic stand. So I.
So yeah, solar eclipse on Monday.
Yes, total eclipse of the heart.
So if you're listening to this podcast on Friday when we usually drop, it happened. But for now, if you're watching, thank you and God bless you. But
this is a lot of this stuff we usually edit out, you see. But since we're talking to you live, we can't do that.
It's not that bad. I mean, there's a couple
I know.
things. I think it's funny.
Yeah, no, I think we are funny. I think people will laugh at us. I'm sure. I have no doubt of that.
So to tie things in the world of deck hockey, if you're familiar, if you play deck hockey, especially the offsides rule is really very loosely enforced, if enforced at all. So as a goalie, the American Rhino, and myself as being a defenseman, we are very sensitive to that. And we don't like it when people just camp out in front of our goal and not move. And that is why the NHL and professional hockey and college and ice hockey has developed the offsides rule.
Yes, indeed.
But, again, deck hockey, it's not enforced, if at all, and there's no checking in deck hockey. So how do we keep the crease clear so that you and the other LIQ goalies can not be screened? And we'll just go over a couple of our tried and true, I guess, techniques that would try and make it so.
All right. Well, you're the one who's responsible for clearing the crease without being physical. So why don't you start us off, James?
Yeah, that's the thing. As a defenseman, and especially for myself, it's really quite unfortunate that I'm not big and strong, so it's really hard to push people out of the way. And as we've mentioned again, that in deck hockey, there's no checking in deck hockey. So anybody could really just stay in front of the crease and do what he wants and be lazy. You don't have to bother about running back and forth and things like that. So you have to be a little bit creative and make sure that your goalie can see what's going on so he's not screened. In case you don't know what screened is, it's when the opposition literally blocks the view of the goalie so that somebody could camp out in front of the crease and get a deflection, or at the very least block the goalie's view so he can't see where the shot's coming from or who it's coming from, and then you get a cheap goal that way.
Yeah.
And it really gets under our skin as defensemen and goalies especially. But one of the things we could try to do is, push him out of the way, or just maybe even sneak in an elbow or lift the stick and make it as uncomfortable and unpleasant as possible while staying in the rules and not doing anything that you're not supposed to do. But the other thing, too, is that you have to make sure you're not screening the goalie either. So whoever is trying to be in front of the crease, you got to get him out of the way and see where the puck is at all times. If someone's deking, if someone's setting up a wrist shot. Mainly there's no slap shots in deck, so you really don't have to worry too much about it, but still people take slap shots or hard wrist shots as well. And it's just a question of maybe a little hip check here, a little nudge there, a push there, and make sure you're not in the goalie's way. So as a goalie, you probably have to make sure that you can be the quarterback in a sense for the defenseman. If my back is to you, for example, I don't know if you're protecting what side of the net, and kind of be a traffic cop as well and let us know if try and stay low or move over here, move left.
Yeah, well, see, here's the issue with me as a goalie. So when I'm in goal, I will be screened, but if it's, another player, if it's a player from the other team that's doing the screening, I don't want to shout out, "Hey, I can't see," because then the other team knows, "Hey, he can't see. I'm going to shoot on him now."
Right.
So it's more like I don't try to. I mean, if it's just one of my guys is standing there between me and the shooter who's maybe at the point, and they're just trying to get in the way, and I can't see, I have no problem shouting to them, "Hey, move to the right. Take it two steps to your left. Take 2 steps to your left or 2 steps to your right or whatever." But if it's close contact like you were describing, James, I really prefer not to be vocal about that, because like I said, I don't want to alert the other team that it's a good time to take a shot.
Right, and the other thing too is that we play on a short surface, so there's not a lot of room running back and forth, and screening is really rampant for that. And it's not just Gary that has to worry about it. The American Rhino, we got Mike and Craig, and other LIQ goalies are forced to deal with this problem on a regular basis as well. So we're just going from our point of view, and the most part,
which sometimes is obstructed.
Well, yeah, exactly right. For the most part, everybody plays within the rules and fair, and we like competition and I guess like the wrestling mentality where you kind of take care of each other in that aspect. So this isn't a huge problem, but it does happen, and especially if there's a blowout or something, it's a little bit more rampant. But, my question for you also is that you're being forced to crane your neck and look around bodies and sticks and whatever, and are you out of position in the sense that you're not in your normal balanced setup?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, if I'm being screened, then I am definitely not going to be comfortable in my normal position because I can't see in my normal position. So I am going to be leaning one way or, leaning the other or off center. So yeah, I am a little more vulnerable in that position, but my job at all times is to see the puck and stop the puck. So if I can't see the puck, then I have to be able to figure out where it is, whether I'm comfortable or not, because, I could be perfectly ready to stop the puck and have it go in next to me where I can't see it. And that doesn't do anybody any good. I'd much rather see it and at least know where it's going.
And that's another good thing about being strong teammates, because the defenseman and the goalie need to really be on the same page at all times. So, for example, I'm not very strong and big or anything, so I'm not very good at clearing the crease. If I'm trying to force a guy on at least one side and get him out of the way, is that a time for you? If you're being screened, do you try and anticipate where the shot will go? For example, if I'm pushing the guy on your blocker side, do you think more than likely the shooter will attempt to go for your glove side?
Yeah, there's some of that. I mean, you do anticipate, especially when you play with somebody over and over and you notice their tendencies. Yeah, if they only have a shot on one side, that's probably where they're going to shoot, unless they can find a tiny hole. So maybe you're more prepared to stop a shot on that side, but you can't assume, because when you assume and you overcommit to one side, then you give up seemingly easy shots on the close side, because you have to be ready to stop the puck. You can play the probabilities. Oh, it's probably going to go over here, so I should make sure my weight is ready to go that way if I need to, but you can't totally commit, because you have to be ready. What if they move the puck to somebody who has a clean shot of that side? Then I'm screwed.
Right. And also for you defensemen out there, you can be screened too, and they can use you as an opportunity to deflect the puck. And there is nothing more frustrating than that. So if you're in that position where you're like I am, you're not strong and you're not able to push people out of the way, make sure that you're doing your goalie moves as well. So first of all, what I like to do is I try and stay low to make sure that whoever my goalie is, mainly it's the American Rhino, can still see as much area as possible. And two, we could be susceptible to a 5-hole as well. And that's happened to me where the guy is shot through my legs and then I'm screening Gary and then it goes through his legs as well. And that is just one of the worst nightmares. So try and be conscious of that. Stay low, use your stick, try and block off as much area as possible where passing lanes and shooting lanes, and even use your own legs too, where if you go down and you kind of go on one knee and put your shin out and your foot, so you can kind of take that little angle away where you can completely take away the lower part of the net. And if anything, force the guy to go high. And then hopefully that can help you out, or whoever the goalie is, to know, like you're saying, okay, if the bottom is taken away, this guy only has one place to shoot, so I'm going to anticipate being ready and making myself big and standing up.
Right. A couple other things you might want to consider if you are a defenseman in this position, or somebody who's back checking in this position. The offensive player knows what they're doing. Yeah. They know that the goalie can't see. That's why they're doing that. And so maybe instead of trying to get directly between the puck and the goalie, maybe just instead try and put yourself between the offensive player's vision and the open side of the net, which maybe might seem a little counterintuitive, but your goalie's going to prefer a shot that comes straight into him that he can see, or her, that they can see, instead of having you block a shot that they can't see and possibly going straight into a side of the net that, the goalie has no chance of stopping.
Right, and watch your feet, because I have taken care of other goalies as well, besides the American Rhino, like Mike or Craig, trying to play in front of them too, and make sure that you're not getting backed up too far, because a lot of times we don't bother painting the crease, so you don't have that location to put yourself in, and make sure you're not stepping on your goalie's stick or anything like that, and also give him as much room as possible too. So just keep that in mind, because they can use you again as a screen whether you want to or not, and that is nothing more frustrating than hanging your goalie out to dry like that.
Just one other observation: if it's a long shot, like if you're on a regulation size rink and it's from the circle, the middle, the face-off circle, or far out, and somebody winds up for a shot, 9 times out of 10 you can let that go, because unless they have a super hard shot or your goalie's like sleeping or tripped or something, then the goalie's probably going to be able to track that and stop it with no problem. Whereas if it's a super long shot and you're standing, 5 feet in front of the goalie and you're like, oh no, I have to stop it. So you put out your stick, it could obstruct the goalie's vision so he can't see it or she can't see it. Or you could, worst case, deflect it, past where the goalie was anticipating stopping it, and it shoots off in the other direction and goes in the net. So just be aware of where you are in terms of the playing surface, and be aware of what are shots, what I would call low percentage shots that the goalie is going to be able to stop. Your instinct is going to be to get in front of them, but a lot of times you can just let those go.
Yes, exactly, and that's a whole other set of issues to deal with. So if nobody's in the crease and no one's in front of your goalie, you don't go there either as a defenseman. So you make sure that area is the goalie's area and nobody else's, and you can pinch up or do whatever you can. So exactly right. Don't ever be the victim of having a deflected shot, because that's what the other team's trying to do, and that's why they screen the goalie, so that they can set up shots like that. Like you always hear the mantra, just take a shot and see what happens. And when you do, and people are in front of the net, a lot of times it'll just find its way in, the puck. So just be aware of that. And if you're a defenseman and you do that a little bit too often, where you're screening your own goalie or you're in the wrong position, you're not going to be a defenseman very long. So just letting you know that.
Here's another reason, just one more reason why you might want to let that shot go. If your team has been pressing the offense for a while and your goalie hasn't seen a lot of shots, your goalie can get a little cold. So if the other team decides to try like a dump and chase and just takes a hard shot on goal that they want to go after, then, if you're in the offensive zone and you can keep it in, that's one thing. But if you're back in your defensive zone, just let it go through, because that's a shot that your goalie's seeing that's nice and easy to kind of get them back in the mindset. Because goalies can get cold if they don't see a lot of work during a game. And that's, really good goalies can overcome that. But it's something that you have to definitely watch out for. So if you can, give them a gimme, that they can just stop and kind of even just a little bit get their rhythm back just by doing that, then you want to give them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's about trust. So hopefully you're on the same team and you know your strengths and weaknesses. And exactly, if the defenseman can't stop or at least filter the shots coming from a certain area, then he's not doing his job very well. And if a goalie can't make those saves, then maybe he should be playing another position as well.
Fair point.
Yeah.